I'm Ryan Day at Wrightsdale Baptist Church, and you are watching Southern End Stories with the people you need to meet and the stories you need to hear. And my special guest today is Raeanne Nixon, and she is the Executive Director of Solid Rock Youth Ministries there in Quarryville, Pennsylvania. I'm so excited to sit down with her today. She is a wife. She is a mom. She is a Christian leader. So, Raeanne, just want to say right up front here, thanks for sitting down with me and sharing some of your stories.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm so excited too. I've been so excited to sit down with you and just hear some of the cool things that God's been doing in your life and also in the ministry that He's allowed you to be a part of. So how about you just start by telling our audience just a little bit about yourself. You're a wife, a mom. Tell us about your husband, a little bit about your kids, just a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So my husband, his name is James. We've been almost married for 8 years. It will be in August. We have 2 boys. They're so active, and we love them. One is Hayes. He'll be 6 actually this week. And then Micah, who will be 4 in July.
That's awesome. And so the Super Mario Brothers party is going to happen, right? Or did happen.
Yes, it did happen, but it's going to continue all week long. So we're really excited for
That's
that.
great. That's great. The cool thing about when you have kids who are into Nintendo is it's always in style. So that's what's cool. So you can be Mario and Luigi pretty much anytime throughout those early years, and it's lots of fun. Well, what do you like to do in your free time? And we know your boys are, enjoy some of those video games. But what do you like to do when you're not, handling ministry and doing work, when you get to unplug? What are some of the things that you like to do?
Yeah, so I love playing with my Cricut. It's a crafting tool.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love doing that and making shirts. I just do it for family and friends. And then I also love to bake. So that's just, it helps me relax. And I love coffee. So just sitting down with a friend and just catching up. I really enjoy that.
That's good. What's your favorite go-to recipe for when it comes to baking? What's like the one thing that Raeanne's always known for?
My chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. I didn't see any cookies show up here today, but
I'm sorry.
We did have the cookies, or we did have the coffee. I mean,
Yes.
We did have the coffee, so that was good. Well, let's talk a little bit more about your story and what God has done. Are you a Lancaster County native originally?
I am not. So I grew up in a small town called Milton. It's from here, it's probably 3 hours away.
Okay. Is that in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania.
Okay. Is that kind of a rural place, or is it small town, country, or city, or what's that place like?
I would say it's more like small town country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And as I understand, you went to Lancaster Bible College. Maybe you could talk about that, or what you graduated with from there, or when you graduated.
Yeah, so I went to LBC, and I graduated in 2013 with a degree in Women in Christian Ministries. And I loved my time at LBC. I was an RA for 2 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm still really good friends with the girls in my section. And I feel like that was one of the things that I just really loved and valued at LBC. And I also went on, I think, 2 mission trips with them. So, yeah, I just really love LBC and just the impact that the professors made in my life. And I didn't grow up going to a Christian school like in high school. And so when I went to LBC, it just really just opened up my eyes of like just Christian education. And I just really valued it at LBC.
That's awesome. So tell me the story a little bit from 2013 when you graduated from LBC. What were the puzzle pieces that kind of clicked together that brought you to Solid Rock?
Yeah. So right after I graduated, I moved in with a professor and his wife, and they were just big mentors of mine. And so I knew I liked the Lancaster area and didn't want to move back home. And so they just opened up their house and just helped me in that process of figuring out like, okay, what's next? And so they just really journeyed that with me. And they just really encouraged me to apply for different things that I probably wouldn't have originally applied for. And so they actually encouraged me to apply for stuff in youth ministry. And I was like, well, I didn't really go to school for that, but why not? Like, I'll just explore that. So at that point, I started applying for different things. And another professor knew someone in this area and heard about Solid Rock and that they were possibly looking for an executive director. So they encouraged me to apply. And so I started applying, and I was like, okay, got really scared and just got really overwhelmed and just was like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not qualified, and just all things from the enemy.
Yeah, right.
And so I
right.
just kind of put that or the application to the side and started applying for a job in Arkansas. You know, when you're scared, why not? Like, just looked for different things. And I actually made it pretty far through the interview process. But then the Lord shut that door and reopened the door at Solid Rock. And they contacted me and was like, hey, we would still really want you to apply for this. And so, long story short, I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to trust you in this. I don't feel equipped, but I know you'll equip me. And so that's how from there I got the job and have been there for 10 years now.
That's awesome. So was it shortly after, was it in that same 2013 year or 2014 when you came to Solid Rock?
Yeah, so it was in the summer. So I started in September. It was like shortly, so September of 2013.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Now, for people who maybe don't know about Solid Rock, obviously, if they're in our community here in the southern end of Lancaster County, they see it advertised, they know about it. But for someone who maybe just only knows the name, how would you quickly summarize just what Solid Rock is all about? What does it do? Why does it exist? Like what does it exist to actually do for young people?
Yeah, so Solid Rock is a youth center for students for kindergarten through 12th grade. And over the years, it just has really expanded. So we offer after school programs. We have summer activities. We have family fun events. And everything we offer is free, which is a huge blessing
That's
for
awesome.
so many of
That's
our
awesome.
families. And our heart is we just want students and families to know the gospel. And so that's why we exist, of just wanting to do that.
It's great. Solid Rock has such an amazing testimony in the Southern End community. It's just awesome what your ministry is doing, how it's impacting, as you said, it's impacting students, it's impacting families for the cause of Christ, which is awesome. So let's get to the big news. There was something really, really exciting that just happened here just about a week ago. And I know there was a big reveal, big news that was just announced. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I'm excited to announce we are opening a new space for Solid Rock, and that has been something that we have been praying for many years. So I would say around 8 years, we just started to notice like we were outgrowing our space, and but that was something that we felt like the Lord said, not yet, but pray. And so our board, we just really prayed and just asked the Lord, like, okay, God, your timing, you will provide the building and stuff. And so this space just came up, and just the whole time, like all of the details, like you can just see God's hand in it all. And so we're really excited. The cool part too is when we were praying for a space, we wanted it to continue to be in Quarryville.
Right.
In the heart of Quarryville, because a lot of our students, they walk to Solid Rock or ride their bikes, or come to us when they are in trouble and different things. And so we just really saw the value of still being on State Street. But we all know it's hard to find
Yes.
a space right in Quarryville.
Right,
And so we're excited that the space is only a couple doors down from Solid Rock now. Like,
It's so amazing
Yeah.
that it's just a few steps away from your current location, and yet the size difference in this new building that you guys are going to go into is just enormous.
Yeah.
And there's going to be so much space in there to do all the kinds of things and even new things and exciting things maybe that you guys could never do before in that previous space. So it's so exciting. And so congratulations and
Thank
praise
you.
God. It's just to see the puzzle pieces move and how his timing is always the right timing. It's the right thing at the right time. So, hey, big congrats. Well,
Thank you.
how can people get involved either? Of course, obviously, you guys announced also a capital campaign that's going on to not only get that building, but then to do some renovations. So could you talk about that, what that number is, what the goal is, and the date and the timing, and just how people could give if they do want to give a financial gift?
Yeah. So we are still in the beginning stages of this all. Our founder stage is we need $150,000 by September. So that's the first phase. And then other information of like how much like the big number for the whole
Right.
capital campaign
Right.
will be announced soon. So if people want to give towards that, and we're believing, we know God's going to provide
Right. Amen.
for that.
Amen.
And so we just want to invite you guys, if you want to be a part of that, that you can give to Solid Rock. You can go to our website at solidrockquarryville.com, and there's a donor page of how to give towards that. Or if you also would just like to send a check, you can mail it to Solid Rock at 34 East State Street, Quarryville.
Awesome. So that's pretty much phase one.
Yeah.
Will be you said it was 150,000
Yes.
by September, and that's
Yeah.
kind of like the opening kickoff for
Yeah.
this next chapter that God's doing at Solid Rock. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
So
awesome.
I would like to share this really cool story. So
Please.
The
That's
night
awesome.
the night of we just kicked it off and just wanted to invite people of like, you can play a part of like kicking this off and stuff. And so someone gave $20 and we're like, wow, like that $20 matters. Like that's a good start. Little did we know it was a student who gave the first $20. And that
That's
just
awesome.
like, that just touches me.
Yes.
And it's just like, okay, like this student sees the value of Solid Rock and that he gave up his allowance or whatever that is. And so the next day I saw him and I just thanked him. And this other student was standing there and he was like, well, I'm thinking about giving $140 of my allowance,
Oh,
but I have
wow.
to think about it. And I said, you know what? That's okay. And I like, especially for that student, like that's huge that he even thought about that.
Yeah.
And so just to see like families wanting to get involved. And then we also had another mom who saw this and was at the reveal and was like, I want to get involved. How can I get involved? And so the next day she gave up her tips and gave it to Solid Rock. And then that kind of just exploded because she put it on Facebook and then someone said, hey, I'm going to match up to $500 of your tips. And then someone else said, oh, I'm going to do that as well. And so at the end of the
Wow.
night, she raised $2,900
Wow.
for Solid Rock.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that was just,
Nearly $3,000 in one
Yeah,
night of just
it's one night.
God's kindness
And
and
that was
people's
a mom.
generosity.
Yeah. That was a mom who gave up her tips, her pay, because she believes in the impact. And then I had another mom who saw that and was like, I want to get involved. You guys have blessed us. And so I have all these parents who just believe in the ministry and who have been impacted and they want to get involved. Like that just is really touching.
That's
and so
awesome.
we just want to invite you guys into that as well.
Awesome. So if someone does want to get involved, if they want to, whether it's a financial gift or whether they would like to volunteer or serve or be a mentor or be involved in games or a helper or whatever,
Yeah.
how should they get in touch with you, or what kind of opportunities are there for them to do those types of things?
Yeah. So for financially giving, like we mentioned, they can go on our website or email us if they have any questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also would need to continue raising like operation funds as
Right,
well
right.
and for the budget. And so they can also pray about becoming a monthly supporter or again, give a one-time donation. And then you mentioned about volunteering. And so we have many ways to volunteer at Solid Rock. Our programs is a huge piece of that, which we just recently asked the students of like what they love about our program volunteers, just because it was volunteer month in April. So we were just celebrating our volunteers. And some of the students, what they said about the program volunteers is one student said that the volunteers at Solid Rock make them feel seen and loved and that they really care about them.
That's awesome.
And then, yeah, that's huge, right?
Yep.
And then another student said that they named a volunteer and they said that this volunteer makes them feel, again, seen, and that the volunteer always has a really like big smile on his face when students come in, and that they know that they will always receive a hug from them.
Yeah.
And so like for some students, like a simple hug goes a long way.
Right.
And so that just, again, shows the value of our program volunteers, how the students really value them. And then other ways to volunteer, if working with students isn't someone's like interests. We also need volunteers for like operation, as like we're always looking for board members to cast out vision. And then we're also looking for committee volunteers to help with our big fundraisers and different things as well.
That's awesome. And I know that Farm to Table event's right around the corner, which is
Yeah.
always really good, and it always is a good fundraising event. But it's also good for the friendships and the connections and kind of the way that the relationships get built between Solid Rock and the community. And there's a lot of networking that takes
Yes.
place there, so that's great.
It always feels like a big family reunion.
Yeah,
And
that's
my
awesome.
husband always is like, "Oh, are you gonna say that?" But I always get up there and see all of our friends of Solid Rock, and that's the thing is like, once you start coming to events, like everyone plays a part in Solid Rock, and you become family, and that's just one of the things that have really truly blessed me over the 10 years of like, I just feel like I have this huge family now, and
That's
it's
awesome.
my Solid Rock family. So
That's awesome.
I'm just really blessed by that.
Well, we are so excited. Again, we're praising God for what he's been doing, with especially the big news, the reveal of the building. I know that's a huge prayer request that you guys have prayed, and God has come through. But we're just so excited to partner with you. Our church loves Solid Rock, and we're just so excited about what God's doing there. And we know that ultimately it's not just about buildings and locations and programs, but it's all those lives that are being changed and being impacted for Jesus and the gospel. So thank you, Raeanne, for all the work that you're doing there, and the energy and the love and the testimony of Jesus that you bring to your job. So thanks for sitting down here with me and sharing some of your stories. This has been great, and I hope people will go and visit the Solid Rock website. Again, you want to give that website out one more time so people can check it out?
Yep, it's solidrockquarryville.com, and there's tons of ways of, you asked about volunteer as well. You can go on our volunteer page as well when you get there.
Awesome.
There's different tabs for that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sitting down with me. This has been great. I enjoyed it.
Thanks
It was
for
good.
having
We
me.
both had our coffee, and it ended
Yeah.
up being a good talk. So thanks for spending some time with me. And we want to say thanks to you guys, too, for checking out this episode of Southern End Stories. And these are the people you need to meet and the stories you need to hear. I'm Pastor Ryan at Wrightsdale, and we'll see you next time.